Hey there, good afternoon. Welcome to my live stream. It's Monday. I do a live show Monday in the morning in the radio, but it's be the boss of your money. It's been one busy Monday, right? Happy nice weather if you are around near me, Northeast, Long Island. Couple of things to talk about. Markets have been very calm with regard to the debt ceiling. In fact, when things are bleak or the news is bad about the debt ceiling, the stock market doesn't seem to go down much. But if somebody comes out and says something good, the market does go up a good amount. Last week, House Speaker McCarthy said, we appear to have a framework to agree on the debt ceiling, to raising it. Stocks went up, 500 points in a day? And they drift a little bit here and there. But overall, markets have been pretty sanguine. There's that word I like to use, sanguine. Sanguini. I'll have sanguini with white clam sauce, please. Okay. So we're going to talk about that. Why is the market calm? Some news on Ozempic and the other weight loss drugs that you hear all about. It looks like Pfizer could be coming out with an oral version. So instead of having to jab yourself once a week for a year or more, going to an oral drug makes this miracle drug even more of a miracle. Because, imagine that. Take a pill. We talk about exercise, losing weight. If only we could put losing weight in a bottle. Oh, my goodness. Folks, I think we have that bottle. And it changes everything. I think, 2 out of 5 American adults are obese. 1 out of 10 is morbidly obese. Diabetes is a huge problem in this country. So is high blood pressure. So this is just like huge news. I mean, this is a miracle drug that really, in an oral form, changes everything. So we'll talk about that. And if you have any questions or comments, definitely get in here into the comments. Hey, Renee, nice to see you. What's up, Mitch? Always look forward to your content. Thank you very much. I'm happy we could connect here as well, Renee. Thank you very much. So a couple of other little odds and ends. The office I'm moving into, we're moving to a new office. It should be ready. I got the email from the building manager, project manager at the building. He said May 31st, I could take possession of the building. I mean, that's 9 days away. That blows me away, considering I signed the lease May 2nd. It's only May 22nd. So I'll be there tomorrow just to check things out. I'll do another quick video update in social. And hopefully that'll be like the last video update. The next one hopefully will be the finished product with the furniture and all the details. I can't wait to welcome you guys there. So we'll go through everything here today that happened that you need to know about. A couple of other doodads. So I'll roll the intro real quick, and then we're going to get into it. While you're watching, if you don't mind, give us a thumbs up, a heart. I see you there, Tina. Thank you for the heart. Right back at you. And here we go. All right, first the odds and ends, and this is actually the more important part. I don't want to just get into the market wrap first. I want to tell you a couple of quick things, okay? The biggest disappointment when I do a financial plan for a new client, and not everybody has this, but I meet with a lot of people who have a lot of money in their 401k plans. And for a lot of people today, their 401k is worth more than their house. And if you live around where I live, houses here go for a lot of money. So these are substantial accounts. And they think, I've got all this money saved, getting through retirement is going to be a breeze. But then when I run the numbers, a lot of people are disappointed. I'm talking about the new clients, people who are not yet my clients. They're disappointed. What's the deal with this? The deal is that all this money in the retirement plan is taxable when they take it out. So not only is it taxable, but it could raise you into an even higher tax bracket. That's the deal. So they're like, that means I'm like a third of the money that I thought I had is basically gone to taxes. That's right. So what I do is when I meet with a new client, I sit down and look at everything and decide if it's worth with the client, if we should do what's called a Roth conversion, where you take your IRA rollovers, your rollover IRAs, and you move them into a Roth conversion. The whole shebang becomes a taxable event, but you pay the taxes now because presumably you're going to be paying taxes on nothing down the road. And let me give you an example of what I mean. If you are going to do a Roth conversion and you expect to be in a lower tax bracket when you retire, and that is a common expectation, doesn't always work though, then you would not do a Roth conversion because you're going to be paying so much, because your tax bracket's going to go down anyway. But here's the thing: if you've got a long time horizon ahead of you, and I'm going to go 10 years plus, okay. The issue though is that the pot of money your IRA grows, so you might be in a lower tax bracket, but you're going to pay taxes on more dollars. Does that make sense? And to think about this another way is if you're involved in your 401k, and most people participate in a 401k plan, and you amass this money, it's great that you get a little tax break now, but you have to pay taxes on all that money down the road when even if you could be in a lower tax bracket, that money could be worth a lot more. So you're paying taxes on a lot more money, even if it's a lower tax bracket. I don't think the tax bracket for most people, from my experience, it doesn't really go down that much. So having said that, I really encourage people, we do some numbers and I encourage people to take a look at your Roth 401k. About 90% of all employers today offer a Roth 401k as well as a tax deductible 401k. And the people who really are just headstrong, don't look, and they're just in their tax deductible 401k are typically those who are like 45, 50 years old and over. And it's just maybe that's because how you were raised, tax deductible, 401k, you get a tax deduction when you put the money into it. But I really encourage you, even if you don't move your IRAs to Roth IRAs, at least make your upcoming contributions into a 401k into the Roth. Not all of you, but some of you, it should at least be considered. There's no blanket advice that, there's no one size fits all that's going to work for everyone. But what I want to impress upon you is there are opportunities for all of you. There are opportunities to do something that could help you, that could help you better prepare for retirement. We don't want to miss those opportunities. We want to turn over every stone. That's one advantage, by the way, of working with a financial advisor is they know what opportunities to look for. You don't know what you don't know. So I look for all of these things that we can do. And I might find 3 or 4 things, 2 things, 1 thing. It could be that I found something that could come back to haunt you if you don't take care of it one day. Example, someone who's got money in IRAs, they're in a second marriage. They then change their IRA beneficiary designation to their new wife, or they made the beneficiary designation for their new wife, their second wife, when their accounts are smaller, but 20 or 30 years later, the accounts are bigger. Did you want to leave any money to your children that you and your other wife birthed, right? You have to think about these things. It's a blind spot that's got to be acknowledged. And I do unfortunately have clients that don't want to acknowledge it because they're afraid to rock the boat. But these are the things that I try to push. I'm not afraid to rock the boat. So I'm pretty plain spoken. I bring things up. And, if it's no, it's no. I'd make a little note and say, hey, this is what I brought up. And what else can you do? Maybe I'll bring it up at the next meeting. So there's another thing to consider with Roth conversions is the family tax situation. Let's say you're retired, you want to leave your IRA to your children, and you're doing nothing more than taking required minimum distributions, and it's a substantial IRA, And you don't need to live on off that money in the IRA. You're just taking out required minimum distributions. And if you have cash on the sideline, you could convert your IRA into a Roth IRA, pay the taxes, and when your children inherit the money, they still have to take everything out of the IRA within 10 years, and they're still subject to required minimum distributions because you were, when they inherited, when you die, they inherited that. So your children have to take the RMDs, but they have to empty the account in 10 years. But by you paying the taxes, if you are in a lower tax bracket, your kids over the next 10 years could be in a higher tax bracket because they're still in their working years and they could be doing very well. There's just another way to make sure that more money gets into your kids' hands. Now, this is more of like an advanced planning technique, not for everybody, but this is what I mean by there are stones to turn over. There are things to look at. We don't want to miss them. You don't want to miss them. And I like to go through these things. Let's talk about a health savings account real quick. I think this is really important. The health savings account for an individual is now up to $4,150. And for a family plan, $8,300. If you're over 50, you could put an extra $1,000 in. So if it's a couple, they could put up to, for the $8,300, married filing jointly for their HSA. If both spouses are over 50, they could put $10,300 in. You get a deduction like an IRA or a 401k. You get the tax deduction. But the beauty is you don't pay taxes when you take the money out for qualified medical expenses. So in that regard, you get a tax deduction and you get tax-free growth because you get tax-free distributions. Believe me, when you're older, you'll have medical expenses. So this is another great way to save up for retirement, grow your money quicker, not pay taxes. Because even if you're retired, you're going to be in a 20, 30% tax bracket. So you're saving a lot of money by putting the money in there. You're getting that nice tax deduction, and you're taking out the growth tax-free. You take out the principal and the growth tax-free. So your $50,000 in HSAs could be worth $200,000. That's $150,000 in gains that you're not paying taxes on. I mean, it's really a very beneficial thing. Most people use their HSAs, they put money into it, and they have to take the money out of it. But if you could afford to leave your money in there and just pay your medical expenses out of your cash flow, not the HSA, it's a really unique way to bolster your retirement assets and have tax-free funds when you need them. Because again, when I do these financial plans for people, I use Money Guide Pro, state of the art, not like the scaled down version. Because somebody said, the guy at the bank showed me that. No. He did not show you what I have. I have the full-blown enterprise edition. And what happens is when I do this, like, I thought I had more money. Why do you have me running out of money possibly earlier than I thought? Because you're paying all the taxes. So we've got to be proactive and see what we could do to get rid of some of the tax hits. Okay. So that's what we are talking about. Meta, which used to be called Facebook, now it's Meta because they're focusing on the metaverse, although they're back on that, luckily, thankfully. And NVIDIA both hit year highs last week. They backed off a little bit today, but also you see some news on the drug stocks that we talked about, the weight loss drug stocks. So I want to say this: if I speak to people all the time, and who are, let's call it, leading age baby boomers, and they went headlong into stocks, dividend paying stocks, and they're kind of messed up because their accounts went down in the last year, right before they really need the money for retirement. And they should, if you are someone, you should not have been so heavily into stocks. You didn't take money off the table when you had a chance. Consider doing that now. Now, don't get me wrong. This is not blanket advice saying everybody should sell. Don't give me like, Mitch Goldberg said we should sell the market. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you make a decision. You make your decision based on your personal finance. And if you have financial obligations coming up and you're retired and you don't have the time frame for the next few years for the money you're going to need in the next 2 or 3 years to recover, your money that money that you need shouldn't be in the market. Now is a time to rebalance, look at your needs and say, I've got a number of stocks that are trading at highs, some all-time highs, and maybe now it's time to take a little off the table. This has nothing to do with a debt ceiling negotiation, okay? It's prudent management. I've been very vocal. I haven't changed a thing about my investing, my finances because of the debt ceiling. We don't even know how it would work, what it would mean. Yeah, listen, federal employees, veterans will get their money last. They will start to get cut. And then other services, TSA, it'll wreak havoc with airports. Although TSA agents are supposed to work by law, federal government employees have to work even if they're not getting paid. But then they could have financial problems because a lot of people are living hand to mouth. It'll be a real cluster headache. Okay. If it gets resolved quickly, if we even go past where we start having to limit who gets paid by the Treasury, if it's over quickly, we'll be fine. Everybody will be made whole. Everybody will get caught up. Remember, the debt ceiling is for what we spent already. It's not about new spending. Now, the tough thing about this is when people have leverage. They have maximum leverage to really push for their goals. Unfortunately, with this maximum leverage comes maximum risk. Like a good leverage is if you have, if a political party has, the Senate, the House, and the presidency, well, that's leverage. But when you don't, it's a different story. This is why divided government in a lot of ways is good, though, because we need to have these discussions. All right. As much as you might find the opposing side repulsive, that side finds your ideas somewhat repulsive. I'm not saying everybody's like that, but that's who is ruling the roost. The most progressive, the most hard right want their stuff, and they're the least likely to compromise. And we're trying to get like the middle, the middle people to. We should make a rock band called the Middle People. The Middle People, MIDDLE. You've got to be in the MI. Give me some time. I'll think of something. So that it's just a very tough position to be in. But they're supposed to meet. McCarthy and Biden are supposed to meet today at 5:30. As I'm talking to you right now, it's 5:00. We'll see what they have to say. They've got 10 days left, not even 10, 9 days left. And Congress is supposed to go on recess for the Memorial Day weekend. McCarthy says he'll keep the House in session. I would expect that if they don't reach a deal. But I think the closer they get, the sooner everybody's going to want to go home and they'll reach a deal. And I think we'll be okay. But I'm not changing anything for myself, for my clients. My clients who need money, who need cash, that cash has already been taken out of the market. That's how it goes. What do you do with your cash in a debt default? I mean, treasuries could get hurt, which is in money markets. It could affect the commercial paper market. It could affect a lot of things. We really haven't seen this before. And every time somebody says something, it's all hypothetical. It could be terrible. It could set us back, losing 10 or 15 million jobs right away, set us into a severe recession right away. Or it could just be you go to work, your kids go to school, you play your golf, and you don't really notice it that much. Maybe you gradually notice it over time. We don't really know. But I'm not going to use fear-mongering or fear tactics to attract attention to myself and try to convince you of something you should be doing based on fear. You will never get from me, ever, a fear-based sales job. It's not my thing. We don't sell on fear. We sell based on the risks that you could and could not accept. And we make a plan based on that. But it's not about fear. So put all your money into this one product, which will address all of your fears. Of course, you'll wake up in 6 months and realize that it might address a lot of your fears, but it doesn't address the biggest risk you have, like inflation, longevity, things like that. So these are the things that we need to talk about. And let's take a quick gander at the last thing. I'll pop myself up in the corner here. So the Dow is down 140, it's down less than 0.5%, no big deal. NASDAQ I'm sorry, the S&P was up 0.5%. You can't invest directly into an index, but you could invest into a security that tracks or mimics an index. NASDAQ was up a fraction, the S&P was up 0.65. So gold down a little bit, not much. Oil up a little bit, not much. Things are pretty tame. VIX wasn't up much. Up 2% for the VIX is not anything out of the unusual. So this is some big news. A Pfizer oral weight loss drug may be as effective as Ozempic injection by Novo Nordisk. Novo has two drugs, Ozempic and I think Wegovy. They have two of the drugs. They're the same exact drug, but one is named differently to treat people with diabetes. One is named another name to treat people with chronic obesity. But these are 1 week injectables once a week. But if you could take it through an oral through Pfizer, you know what I think is going to happen? This is going to be like it's going to be like cholesterol drugs. Everyone is going to have a different cholesterol drug, and there's going to be so much competition that the promise of these drugs as a group will be tremendous, but nobody's going to really monopolize it because they're just jumping over each other with a better mousetrap, and it's going to keep happening because the drug discovery process today is so much quicker than it was 20 or 30 years ago. So these companies are just going to keep leapfrogging each other with innovation, but it's good for the consumer. These are very expensive if they're not covered by insurance. Some of them you could get a coupon from the manufacturer, but once that's up and you realize you've got to start paying thousands of dollars a month for these drugs, you're going to be like, I can't afford it. And then you're going to have to do the real hard work by cutting calories and exercising. But man, if you get all that in a bottle, though, I mean, that is just like something else. All right. So that's about it. Let's take a look at the stocks. Did the stock? Yeah. Okay. So Novo is down a drop today. I think that has more to do because it's an international stock. We'll see. We'll see how that does in the morning. We'll see how foreign trading does. Lilly was down just about 2%, down about $8, but it did hit a year high today during the day. And Pfizer was up 5%. You can see that 5% upside today. So we'll see how it goes. But this is, to me, very exciting stuff, and I'm looking forward to seeing how all this stuff shakes out. Would I take one of these drugs? Yeah, I would. I work out, I exercise, I'm doing everything I can, and I got to tell you, I'm pretty jacked. I lift a lot of weights. I move around a lot. I eat okay. It's really hard to get to where you want to go. All right, that's it for me. Have a great day. Thanks so much for watching.